Hello everyone. Let's talk about what's happening in India and why is the citizenship law causing so much anger? And why are some people worried about what this means for India as a secular country? India is going through a tough time and there are a lot of unresolved issues that date back to those protests. It's all about the identity and what it means to be Indian. India has almost 1.4 billion people. About 80% of them are Hindu, but the minorities are still huge in the millions. Muslims, Christians, Sikhs, plus immigrants from neighboring countries. Now, under India's secular constitution, everyone is guaranteed equal rights, regardless of their religion. But right now, a lot of people say that the equality is being threatened, that the ruling party, the BJP, has an agenda to make India a Hindu nation. They say the latest sign of that is a law passed in December called the Citizenship Amendment Act. The act that offers a pathway to becoming an Indian citizenship for migrants who arrived before 2015 from these countries and who belong to these religions. Muslims are not on the list. But the BJP says it's because they are not the persecuted minority in those three countries. The law, they say, is meant to help those at risk. But the critics have been saying that if the CAA is there to offer citizenship to persecuted minority, there are plenty of Muslim minorities in that position. But the CAA alone isn't the problem. It's the combination of the act with National Register of Citizens that India wants to introduce. It's basically a massive head count. So here's the issue. To register people, you have to prove that they are Indian citizens. But not everyone can. Not everyone has the documents. There is a concern that immigrants could be granted citizenship under the CAA, while Muslims who are actually from India could be left out. The government is forging ahead with the CAA and the register anyway. But people aren't worried about it not working. Many Muslims say it's just another example of injustice. In 1992, Hindu nationalists destroyed the Babri Mosque. There were riots and nearly 2,000 people were killed. Nationalist groups as well as BJP leaders were linked to the violence. 10 years later in Gujarat, fighting between Muslims and Hindus ended in 1,000 people dead, most of them Muslims. At the time, the current Prime Minister Narendra Modi was the Chief Minister there. He was accused of deliberately allowing the riots to happen. So it's off the back of that history that the BJP brought in the CAA. It wasn't just Muslims protesting. Plenty of Indians from other faiths were against it too. There were also rallies in favor of CAA where BJP politicians spoke to the crowds. Protesters started getting attacks. Then both sides started fighting. Hindus attacked Muslims, Muslims fought back. Muslims and Hindus were killed, but it was mostly Muslims. The BJP and its supporters have dismissed accusations that Muslim protesters suffered disproportionately. They also deny using hate speech that might have fueled violence by Hindu nationalists. But a report by Amnesty International says some Delhi police were complicit in the violence. They have also been accused of actively taking part. But the government says the rights group is biased. Meanwhile, Delhi police have been questioning, arresting, and detaining hundreds of people, some of them under an anti-terror law. Rights activists in India say that more than 800 Muslims have been picked up, that it's being misused to crack down on political dissent, and that police have used pandemic to clamp down. Professor Apurv Anand, who we heard from earlier, was one of the people taken in for questioning. It all comes back to the idea of identity and a lot of people feeling powerless and excluded. They want to know who gets to be Indian and who gets to decide.